Remember that moment when you promised yourself, this is the last time, and then you did it again anyway? Today, we're going to talk about how to break a bad money habit. Today, we're going to crack the code on breaking the stubborn money habits, not with willpower, not with shame, but with something way more powerful: understanding. In the last podcast or video, we discovered why our brains push us to spend. And the reality is, the neural pathways in our brain have created these habits, and we have practiced them over time, and they're just trying to make us feel better. So now we want to take all of that we talked about last time and turn it into action with a game plan that will actually work. Stay with me here because I want to tell you something that you might find hard to believe, but those voices in your head are not the truth. And those spending urges you feel, they're just messages, they're just signals, they're not commands. Like the spam emails that just show up in your inbox, that doesn't mean you have to open them, right? Or better yet, think of those very persistent sales people at the mall kiosk. They're usually selling technical gadgets or creams or makeup, and they are in your face. They are trailing you, they're putting samples in your face, they're talking loudly, they're waving you down, but you can simply walk by them. You don't need to be rude, you don't need to argue with them, you just keep walking. And you can do that with your brain. When your brain is saying, buy now, it's only doing that because that's what it has learned to do. That is what we have trained it to do. It is like a computer up there. It's been programmed. Just like your phone auto suggests when you text, your brain is suggesting shopping as a solution, usually to a feeling: sad, mad, lonely. But here's the key: a suggestion is not a command. You're not a puppet being controlled by strings. You are the puppet master. You get to decide what strings to pull. Isn't that great news? The real reason you spend money when you don't want to might surprise you. You're spending because you're being triggered. And typically, triggers fall into three categories. And understanding these will help you to see them and then choose something else. I think we're all aware of emotional triggers when it comes to spending, like stress. You had a rough day, and so you hit the Amazon cart. Anxiety, you're worried about a presentation next week, so you go spend a lot of money on a new outfit. Or even celebration. Let's say you get a promotion and you're saying to yourself, I deserve to treat myself. And you may, and you can, but you just want to be intentional about it. You don't want to be unconscious spending. You want to know that you actually have planned for that spending. And then there's boredom, like you have nothing to do. And so you're just browsing online sales. And I think that is so common. So those are emotional triggers and they are very persistent. But there's also environmental triggers that we probably aren't aware of, like sales that say limited time. They have this urgency for a reason. They want you to act and act now. But oftentimes that is just false urgency. Or even the way they lay out the store, where they put certain things right in your face, or like IKEA. You have to literally go a certain route and go through every single part of that massive IKEA store to get to what you want. And that is for a reason. You're going to see something that you didn't know you needed. These are environmental triggers, and marketers use them for this very reason, to trigger us to unconsciously spend. So if you're aware of that, you can just be like, oh, yeah, I don't really need that. And then there's social triggers. And these are things like peer pressure, like keeping up with the Joneses, where maybe they have a Lexus, so you want a Lexus. They have new patio furniture, so you want new patio furniture. You're always trying to stay with or above the neighbors or your friends or your family or whomever it might be. You're keeping up appearances. Those are social triggers. So you need to know about these triggers because you can then navigate them. If you're in a maze and you don't know where the walls are, you're just bumping into things. In the case of shopping habits, if you know where these triggers are, where these trap doors are, then you don't need to fall into them. You just step around them. Now, here's something that is counterintuitive to what most people think. The less you fight your urges, your spending habits, your desires, the weaker they become. It's like that annoying person who wants attention. The more you ignore them, the less they bother you. We've all been around a persistent toddler who wants candy. If you argue and say no repeatedly, they get more determined. They go after it. If you explain all the reasons why not, we're going to have dinner soon, it's not healthy for you, they just counter each one. If you get frustrated, they feed off that energy. But if you calmly say no and then move on, the request fades. And your spending desires, habits, urges can work the same way because fighting creates resistance and resistance creates focus and focus feeds that habit. But calm observation makes it fade away. If you just notice it, notice the trigger, notice the desire, and that can help you walk away from it. So when you stop treating this habit like an enemy to be battled and start as like passing clouds in your mind, something magical happens. They begin to lose their power, not because you beat them down or you conquered them, but because you've stopped giving them energy that they need to persist. Where focus goes, energy flows. That's just how it works. If you're focused on not wanting to spend, on not doing that, then that's what you're focused on and that's what you're going to do more of. So now that we understand triggers and our desires and urges that create habits, let's talk about creating new neural pathways, new routes in our brain, neurons that fire together, wire together. So the more we do something, the more we repeat it, the stronger those connections get. Just think of it like your GPS. You can find alternate routes when there's traffic. Your brain can learn new responses to old triggers. Instead of stress equals shopping equals temporary relief, but then there's more stress because I spent money and I didn't want to. We can build a path that is stress, a new response. Let's say stress, go for a walk, actual relief instead of fake relief. Instead of stress, shopping on Amazon, we could have a little 5-minute dance party. Rather than treating yourself to new clothes, treat yourself to a bubble bath. If you're bored, call a friend. If you feel like shopping, clean out your closet first. Here's a practical tool that has helped me and countless others. It's called the 24-hour rule. You see something you want, great, put it in your, let's say, your Amazon cart, but don't buy it yet. Wait 24 hours. And if you still want it tomorrow, then maybe you really do need it or you really do want it. But if you forgot about it, then it was just an unconscious urge. If you start noticing these things over time, you can start to see patterns. Like maybe you keep on a notes pad when you do your unconscious spending. And maybe you notice I spend at 9 p.m. a lot. And that's when you're just sitting there watching TV, bored. And that's just when you unconsciously spend. And when you figure that out and you see that and you're aware, then you can do something different. You can create a different neural pathway. And when you do that, when you choose to do something different and you're breaking that spending habit, celebrate every win, all of them. You have to think of this not as restriction, but about freedom. And the reason is because, as I talk about all the time, your thought or your belief creates an emotion. That emotion is what drives your behavior. And if you're feeling restricted, your behavior is going to be one of scarcity and you're going to end up buying more. But if you're feeling free from not having those habits or those urges, then you're going to act from a place of freedom, which is completely different. That need to buy, that guilt after an impulse purchase, that endless cycle, buy, regret, repeat, you can be free from that. And if you think of it more like that rather than being restricted from buying something, it's going to help a lot. Some simple actions you can take just to help yourself is unsubscribe from store emails, delete shopping apps off your phone, make a want to buy list, keep that somewhere, but you don't have to buy all the things. You just have a list somewhere, get it out of your head onto paper, and find one non shopping stress relief activity. And again, you're not giving up on shopping. You're gaining control of your spending. You're deciding. You're becoming conscious. You're not losing options. You're gaining freedom. And those desires and spending habits, they're just passing clouds in your sky. You don't need to fight them. You don't need to follow them. You just let them float by. So that's what I have for you today, folks. Please share this with anyone you know who would like to get help understanding their spending habits. And if you want to put a light on your current money mindset, go to hermoneycoach.com/quiz and get the free money mindset assessment. You can see where you're at, you can see where you want to be, and you can figure out a plan to get from here to there. And remember, you have the power to change your financial future, and I'm here cheering you on every step of the way.